Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. I'm Izzy and I got a fun one for you today. So recently I got involved with the tiny home community, a small tiny home community developer friend of mine is putting together. And we're doing a lot of built-ins and some fun folding furniture. Well, today we're working on some closet built-ins and we're doing some edge banding. And I want to show you simply the fastest possible way to do edge banding without a big expensive machine. So what I'm using is a product called Fast Edge Edge Banding. It's basically a pre-finished edge banding with speed tape on the back. Now this tape is very durable. So I posted over on Instagram that this is the method I use, and I had a couple folks say they had some issues with the longevity of it. So I want to walk you through my method. I've been using this stuff for close to 15 years now, and I have pieces sitting in my house that are 12 years old. It looks like brand spanking new. So I'm going to show you my method, show you how to get some really good adhesion and get some longevity out of it. So what I do is I always start with taking a very firm sanding pad with some 120 on it and just go over the surface, whether you cut it on the table saw or whether you cut it on the CNC, just to clean up any little burrs or anything that might have lifted. Then I'm going to take a very just moist rag with some lacquer thinner in it and clean that surface off. You want to have a nice clean surface for it. And then I'm going to take my edge banding and measure out how much I need, and rather than cutting it, I'm going to try to break it with my fingers and then kind of wiggle it back and forth and peel it off. Sometimes the tape can be a little bit hard to get started, but a lot of times what will happen is you'll have a little piece you can get a hold of, so you don't have to use a knife, but in this case I do. So I'm going to peel off that edge banding, and I'm going to start just past the edge using my fingers to make sure that it's nice and even over the top. And one thing I'll mention, when I'm doing cabinets, cabinet typically plywood is 0.704 wide. So I buy the 3/4 inch edge banding because when you're using this style trimmer, you don't want to have a lot hanging over. You want to have as little as possible hanging over. So once it's sanded, it's peeled, it's stuck down, I'm going to take my fast edge roller. I use the steel ones on mine, and I'm going to go over it a couple of times. You want about 25 pounds of pressure per square inch. That means lean into it, put in some heft. The last couple of strokes are going to be at about a 5-degree angle. I'm going to come back and kind of compress the sides a little bit, not much, just a little bit with about half the pressure. I'm going to come back across with my trimmers, pinch them together, and just go through it once quickly. Don't pause, keep going all the way through it. Another thing you'll notice if you use these kind of trimmers with the wider edge band, if the grain structure on the edge banding is a little off, what it can do is bite in and pull some of that away. So you want to use the closest size edge banding to the material that you're using to get the best results. Next, I'm going to use my guillotine, chop off each edge. I'm going to hit those edges real quick with just a light sanding because these are shells, so I don't want to have any bit there for them to get pulled back on. And then go for the angle of the fast edge sander, and that's going to kind of knock everything down at a nice angle. And you just want to sand until you don't feel a lip. If you feel a lip, you can kind of focus it on one side by turning the sander to one side, and then you can hit the other side. You just don't want to feel that lip. The last thing I do, a little bit more lacquer thinner, and just clean that edge right up. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of residue from the tape along the edges, and it just takes a couple swipes with some lacquer thinner and that edge is nice and clean. Now once you get going on these, like we're doing a ton of them, you can get really fast at these where some of these edges are taking like 15 to 20 seconds. It doesn't take long once you set up and you get a nice rhythm going to it. So let me walk you through that one more time. So this works on MDF as well, but you're going to want to treat the edge of MDF before you put it on. If you just put it flat onto MDF, you're not going to get the adhesion that you want or the longevity. I typically will either treat it with some lacquer, just some regular lacquer, spray it on or brush it on, let it dry, sand it out, then do the same exact thing we just did in this process. The same goes for like press board or compression board. But there is one thing I want to talk to you about. All these tools that I'm using today, if you guys want to check out the system, listed in the links below. They are affiliate links, so they do help out if you so choose to use them. And of course, we really appreciate it. But if you're going to get into working with pre-finished plywood and pre-finished edge banding, there's something that you might not have thought of that you're going to want to get for the shop. And that's a nice kit for removing splinters. So check out this. This is actually a dissection kit, and I love having this thing in the shop. So I went to look for splinters a while back. A regular pair of splinters is like $12, a decent pair. This right here is less than 20 bucks. It's got a couple scalpels. It's got the sharp pointy things for digging. It's got scalpels if you need to cut. This tool is really nice because then you can press down on it and pull out the splinter. You can press down on the head and the splinter pops up a little bit, and then use one of the 3 pairs of tweezers that are in here and pull them out. So I'll put a link for this in the description box below too. This sits right next to my first aid kit and comes in very handy. So fast edge banding comes in all kinds of different colors, comes unfinished, comes in walnut, birch, everything, including some plastics as well. So if you're looking to do some edge banding and you want to do the fastest way you can get it done, because obviously time is money when it comes to this kind of stuff, I highly encourage you to check it out. Now, if you've done it before and haven't been happy with the results, I encourage you to try that process that I showed you. I have had great results with it, and really, I have pieces that have lasted decades just like that, by edge banding like that with this stuff on it. So, and one more thing before you go. If you have like a splinter removal process, I would love to hear about it in the description box below. How do you remove splinters? I know everybody's got like a method, and you never know, might learn something, so that might be a fun conversation to have. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. While my back's healing, we're going to be doing a few more videos like this. We'll still be doing build videos. It's not as many until my back is all healed up. Ways to go yet. But you can expect some more content like this, because this is easier for me to do than big builds. And we'll get back to it. It'll be a good ride.